Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. So we'll continue reading Harinam Cintamani book by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The Supreme Person, who is completely independent and free to act according to his desire, is Sri Krishna. He exists as the Supreme Truth, one without a second, but is inconceivably always in the company of his eternal energies. These energies are never independent of Krishna, rather, they are intimately related with him. This is stated in the Vedic mantras. Krishna is the independent principal conscious entity, and the energies are his attributes. They can never be independent. Krishna may be called Vibhu, the omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent master, and the manifestations from his energies. All other existing phenomena may be called Vaibhav, the opulent expressions of his factual existence. Yet, even in the midst of unlimited, countless energy scattered throughout endless time, Krishna remains separate and independent in his original form. It is through these energies, these vaibhav of the Vibhu, that the Lord's presence can be perceived. The manifestations from Krishna's energies are of three types: Chidvaibhava, or spiritual manifestations coming from Krishna's spiritual potency, Achid Vaibhava, or the dull, unconscious material world, and Jiva, or countless souls, small particles of spirit. This is the statement of scripture. Chid Vaibhava, spiritual manifestation. The Chid Vaibhav consists of Krishna's abodes, such as unlimited number of Vaikuntha planets, Krishna's unlimited names, such as Govinda, Hare, Hare, etc. Krishna's unlimited forms, such as the two-handed form holding the flute. Krishna's extraordinary qualities, such as affectionately giving bliss to his devotees. Krishna's pastimes, such as the Ras Leela or Braja, Raslila of Braja, and Sankirtan activities of Navadvip. Even though these spiritual manifestations may descend into the material world and be visible or perceivable by the living entities, they remain spiritually untouched by material influence. All these elements intimately related to Vishnu or Krishna are called Vishnupad throughout the Vedas. The word denotes that Chit Vaibhav are inseparable from the Lord Himself. The spiritual phenomena are inseparable from the prime spiritual entity. Therefore, in the spiritual realm of Vishnupad, the changes which occur due to the influences of the material energy are not present. The realm is transcendental to material change, and like Lord Vishnu himself is pure goodness, unmixed with passion or ignorance in the past, unlike the condition of the material world. Krishna and the plenary Vishnu expansions are all of pure goodness. Thus, whether in Golaka, Vaikuntha, the causal ocean, or the material world, these personalities remain unaffected as the Lord of all the demigods and the Lord of Maya. Vishnu forms are the lords of Maya and are in pure goodness, whereas Brahma, Shiva, etc. possess goodness mixed with other modes. Then Achid Vaibhava. Across the Viraja River, which is the separating boundary opposite from the Vishnu forms, spiritual abodes, spiritual pastimes, and other spiritual manifestations, lies the non-spiritual realm composed of the universes of 14 planetary systems. This realm, under the control of the Lord's illusory energy, is called Devi Dham, the board of Maya. It is composed of the 5 material elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, plus mind, intelligence, and false ego, which form the gross and subtle bodies of the living entities. The 7 upper and 7 lower planetary systems are all contained within the Achid Vaibhava, or non spiritual manifestation of one of the Lord's energies. Then Jiva Vaibhava, whereas the spiritual manifestation Chidvaibhav is the full spiritual principle, and the illusory material world. Achidvaibhava is its shadow. Jivas are atomic particles of spiritual element. Because the jivas are spiritual in character, they also have some degrees of independence and have the potentiality of unlimited bliss, which is natural to the spiritual realm. Those Jivas who resort to Krishna to attain that bliss remain as liberated souls eternally associated with Krishna. But thinking of his own happiness, if one selfishly desires to enter the neighboring abode of Maya, he turns away from Krishna and takes a material body in the material universe. Having fallen into the revolving wheel of continuous activities, good or bad, with their results, the jiva wanders throughout the universe, sometimes in Swarga, sometimes in hell, taking birth with a material body to enjoy life in all the 8,400,000 species of beings. But as you are the Lord, the controller of the jivas, and the jivas are your energies, you are always thinking of their welfare. Whatever happiness a jiva may seek, you kindly bestow it. Therefore, one who desires impermanent happiness in the material world achieves it without difficulty by the Lord's mercy. All the processes of achieve this happiness of sense gratification, all the process to achieve this happiness of sense gratification, such as rules of varna and asrama, yajna, yoga, home, and brata, which are past activities, are simply material without spiritual transcendental nature at all. The results of these practices elevation to higher planets and sense enjoyment are material and temporary. Thus, in such activities for satisfying the temporary senses, the soul remains unsatisfied. The attempt to achieve happiness by gaining a temporary situation in a higher planet is a gross error by the soul. Similarly, by the mercy of devotees, a jnani may perform activities of bhakti. Such jnana mixed with devotional activities is also classified as a secondary path of bhakti. Such a jnani easily arrives at the stage of faith in Krishna and can quickly process in full devotional service. I'd like to stop here, continue reading tomorrow. So what is my understanding from today's reading is like it's mostly mentioned about Bibhu and Vaibhav. Bibhu, Krishna is Bibhu, like he is the supreme truth and he is independent of everything. Nothing can touch, nothing can pollute Krishna. He is independent, he's not dependent on anyone. He's omnipresent, omniscient. That's why Krishna is Bibhu, but his energies and his attributes are called Vaibhav. There are three categories of Vaibhav we saw: Chid Vaibhav, Achid Vaibhav, and Jiva Vaibhav. Chid Vaibhav is the internal energy of Krishna, or the spiritual energy. Achid Vaibhav is the external energy, or the material energy, and Jiva Vaibhav is the marginal energy. So Krishna's abode, his forms, his attributes, and his qualities, his leelas, or like his pastimes, everything comes under the Krishna's spiritual energy. And the material energy is the 14 planetary systems. The 7 upper and 7 lower planetary system is the material energy. And the marginal energy, or the living beings, comes under marginal energy. Because why? Because they are like, they have a tendency, so as they are part and parcel of Krishna, so they have the qualities of Krishna, but as long as they have the same quality as Krishna and they face towards Krishna, they are like eternal. But as soon as they face towards Maya and they try to enjoy by themselves, separating themselves from Krishna, they come under the contact of Maya. And at that time, they are known as conditioned. That's why, and they touch towards the material energy. That's why they are in the marginal. It is like the it is the living entity's choice whether they can be towards the spiritual or towards the material energy. And those three Vaibhavas mentioned. Then yeah, it is mentioned that Krishna and his forms, like the Vishnu forms, all are in the mode of goodness. And even though Krishna sometimes comes to the material world to perform some leelas, everything are still eternal, and nothing material stuff cannot touch anything to Krishna. And it's mentioned like all the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Brahma, they're in the mixed mode. And yeah, material energy is mentioned that it consists of the 5 different elements, that is earth, water, air, fire, and ether, and mind, intelligence, and false ego. These 8 things constitute the living beings. Like our gross and subtle body. Gross is the 5 elements, and subtle is the 3 elements. Mm, yeah, it's mostly today it's mentioned about like how Krishna is independent of everything. Krishna is not dependent on anyone. He's the supreme truth, and his will is supreme will.